Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Capitura, and I'm here with Dr. Sharif Ibrahim. Welcome to another video. This one today, we're going to be talking about how the body actually processes food, because there's this misconception that we eat food and it instantly or magically becomes energy for us. And Sharif, that's not the case. It actually is a lot more specific or a lot more granular. Can you explain that?
Thank you, Chris. I think this is a very important question because I've seen and I have met many of my patients over the years, and I have found that many of them have the wrong picture about energy and fuel. Some of them expect that there is an engine somewhere inside the body where this fuel goes to be converted into energy. This is a misconception here. There is no engine in the body. Actually, the energy production takes place at cellular level. So each cell in the body produces its own energy. The fuel goes inside each and every cell in the body, and then this fuel is going to be converted into energy.
There you have it. That makes sense. It doesn't just happen magically in the stomach. It actually happens at the cellular level. Now, one of the things we talked about, Sharif, in the past is the idea of a gatekeeper, where there's actually a component within the cell that'll make the decision on whether the sugar comes in or not. Can you explain that next?
Although the energy production takes place inside cells, these cells are not going to be readily allowing sugar to come in. In some circumstances, there is difficulty of getting sugar inside these cells. If you can imagine, you are going into the underground in London. You have an Oyster card in your hand. So you touch the Oyster receptor and it opens the gate for you. And so you enter the underground. So that's exactly what happens inside the cells. So you have something called insulin that touches the receptor of the cell, and the cell opens the gate and sugars come in.
Now, for people outside of the UK, when he's talking about the Oyster card, he's talking about just a pass, a transit pass that we use, and the receptor just being the little stand where they tap it before they get on the subway, or what they call the underground in London. Now, Sharif, let's go in a bit more and talk about the process that happens here. I mean, there's GLUT4. Get into how all of that helps, like the Oyster card, you say, where they're tapping to get into the cell.
When insulin knocks on the door, GLUT4 moves towards the cell membrane to allow sugar to come in. Insulin knocks on the door and GLUT opens it. But in some circumstances, insulin knocks on the door, but there is no response, or there is like a partial response. The door is not going to be open fully. When the door opens fully, we get adequate amount of sugar inside the cell, which is what we want. That is going to help the cell make adequate amount of energy to run its activities. But if the door is open partially, then you get less sugar coming in. So the cells are not satisfied. They still need more. So they're going to shout. They're going to shout hard and asking the pancreas to produce more insulin. Hopefully, this is going to open more gates and is going to give them adequate amount of sugar inside the cell. The process can work like this for a little while, and that is going to deliver adequate amount of sugar inside cells, and at the same time, lower the amount of sugar in the blood. So you get like a steady, normal blood sugar, which is very important because higher blood sugar is not healthy. So when the process works nicely, that is going to keep steady blood sugar within the normal range. This is going to work for some times until eventually the pancreas start to get exhausted. And at this stage, then there is no adequate amount of sugar delivered to the cells. And so the blood sugar start to rise. More sugar in the blood is going to be very damaging. It damages the proteins, it damages the fats in the blood, and cause what is known as oxidants. And these oxidants can accelerate aging, can cause disease.
Well, Sharif, oxidants are a big topic. We do cover it in our course, Rescuing Your Health. We should make a video on that one. That'd be a good one for people to watch. So look for that, everyone. Now let's get back talking about insulin. In particular, can you describe specifically about this loss of sensitivity and why it's happening?
When we lose the insulin sensitivity, then the cells are not really opening to accept the sugar loads. And that is a situation which is going to increase the blood sugar, which is damaging to the cells. What's the reason behind the insulin become less sensitive? We can summarize the reason into 2 points. Number one, this happens when we eat the wrong food. Number two, this happens also when we are eating more often. And I can explain these 2 points. What do I mean by the wrong food? We have got 2 types of food. The food usually come from the farm, the normal food, which is fruits and vegetables, beans, nuts and seeds, meat, poultry, eggs, and fish. But we started having fake food that comes from the factory. This is not a very good food because it is highly sugar and processed carbs. And these sugar and processed carbs, when you eat them, it will give you, like, say, sugar spikes and sugar crashes, makes people eat more than what they should do and make them hungry all the time and they wanting to eat all the time. This is not really a very good thing. If you go back to Mother Nature, eating real food, then I think this is probably a good answer to the question. The other problem, which is also related, is the number of times we eat. Because if you eat frequently, then you're going to have a very high insulin level, and the very high insulin level is going to cause the cells become less sensitive to the action of the insulin. And how that happens? Because for most of us now, we eat 3 meals and 3 snacks. And every time when you eat, each meal will give you like insulin spikes, irrespective of the content of the meal, whether it is carbs or proteins or fat. It gives you like insulin response. Then the consecutive meals and snacks will give you a consecutive series of insulin responses, which is going to put your insulin very high. And that is going to create the situation of your cells become insensitive to the action of insulin, and then less sugar will go inside the cells, and the cells stay hungry, pushing the pancreas to produce more insulin, and your insulin will go high, and eventually your pancreas get exhausted, and you end up in this very bad situation.
To summarize, the important part that Sharif is sharing is that the food that you eat and when you provide your body with that food are the critical points. Once again, Sharif, thanks for all this great information. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We look forward to seeing you on our next video. Take care. Sharif and I appreciate you liking this video, and more importantly, remember to subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of content that we're going to be creating, and we don't want you to miss a single second of it.